Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. I hope you're all having an outstanding day. Today's video, I am going to go over the Feather Hunters build and we are going to discuss it. So yesterday I put out a cheat sheet on 8 meta team comps and I released that on our Squirrel Nation community tab. So anybody who didn't see that, you can go check that out. And a big request in that thread was for me to go in depth on each comp. So what I decided to do is I'm going to make a video for each of them, but when I release them is going to depend on how much likes the video gets. So I am going to set the bar at 150 likes. If this video gets 150 likes, then I will go on to the second comp, I'll release that, so on and so forth. So if you like this content, definitely smash that like button so I do the next guide. Anyways, with that said, let's dive into the guide itself. So here's the very bread and butter Feather Hunters build. You get a Taboo Witcher, 1 cost, Shining Archer, 2 cost, a Wisp Seer, 2 cost, and then your Dwarf Sniper, Wind Ranger, Warpwood Sage, Razor Claw, and Shining Assassin. Okay, so in this build, this is the optimal build. So quick overview of this build. It's just one of the branches of Feather. Feather, the thing that makes Feather such a strong synergy is that it's so flexible. And on the flexible note, let's go talk about the hero substitutions and what I mean by flexibility. So this is Feather Hunters. You can also switch in assassins and add 3 assassins. So those assassins, the best / most common ones would be Shadow Crawler for sure, because that's another Feather unit, and then Lord of Sand, because he also is a beast. So with Lord of Sand and Razor Claw, you get 2 beast. And then another good one is the Abyss Crawler, and that is because it brings in the Marine synergy. Marine synergy is very needed because Feather are weak against mages, so adding in a Marine synergy can help Feather teams perform a lot better against mage comps. Okay, so the matchups, it's strong, and this is a little hard because this, after the patch that just dropped last night, Feather got a pretty significant nerf. They went from a 40% evasion rate to a 35% evasion rate, and I'm honestly not sure how that's going to affect them against Glacier Knights. So they used to be pretty strong against Glacier Knights, but I think they might be more in the neutral range, maybe even weak against Glacier Knights now. I left them strong because I need to test it myself, but anyways. The big thing for Feather Hunters, though, is they perform well against other Feather team compositions. So if somebody runs like Feather Dragons, if somebody runs Feather Assassins, they do well because the Marksman synergy nullifies the Feather synergy. So the Marksman team, when it's a Feather v Feather, should end up winning. I count them as pretty neutral against Assassins, assuming the levels are the same, the equipment is the same. If the Assassins get crazy items, then you are going to struggle heavily against assassin comps. Weaknesses, just flat out weak to mages. Hunters just flat out weak, especially after the nerf, because now the Hunters passive means that Feather, even 6 Feather, will no longer dodge any Hunter attacks, so they're definitely going to be a lot weaker against Hunters. And Warriors, they're weak because if you look at the damage sources of a Feather Hunter team, the main damage sources are Dwarf Sniper, Shining Assassin, and Wind Ranger. Of those 3 units, the only one that has magic damage is Wind Ranger with his ultimate, so that's why Warrior, with all their armor, they do just counter the damage, and the Feather player just can't kill them. This used to be a neutral matchup, or even maybe a little in Feather's advantage, but I think after the nerf, I'm pretty sure they will be weak against Warriors. And then finally, Goblins, it's the same as Warriors. The Goblins, if they get to 6 Goblin, they're just way too tanky, they have way too much sustain, and yeah, the Feather Hunters are just not going to get through that. So optimal formation, down here in the bottom right, I like to use this. Feather are one of those team compositions where there is a lot of different positioning. I can't go over it all, but I will mention that you can split formation against mages, so you could break off your Razor Claw, put it over on the side with your Shining Assassin, and especially if it's 3-star, because then like the enemy Tortola Elder, some of the mage ultimates will actually target your Razor Claw. Another thing is Storm Shaman targets the hero who has done the most damage in a fight, which can be Razor Claw if he gets out a quick bear. So if you split Razor Claw against mage teams with a Storm Shaman, let's say has 2 mana crystals, your Razor Claw can end up soaking that Storm Shaman ultimate, so that's why sometimes you can break him off of your main group. So the marksman, the reason you have Shining Archer on the edge is because she's really good at grabbing the assassins, and also you want her to get her ultimate off on both your boards, so your board and whoever you're fighting from their perspective. So I put her there to catch assassins, protect your Dwarf Sniper, and then the Taboo Witcher, you don't want him to take initial aggro, which is why I don't put him in the front line, but he will basically, if you're same side, your Taboo Witcher is going to go out to the left, and then he'll engage in the fight, but by the time he engages, all the enemies will be attacking your Razor Claw, Warpwood Sage, and Wisp Seer. If the enemy team is adjacent, then the Taboo Witcher will go out to the left and engage them also, but same thing, he shouldn't take the main aggro because a lot of enemies will actually aggro onto the Shining Assassin, and then your Taboo will come in and kind of assist, or he'll go to the main fight. So anyways, those are just some notes. When you play the comp, when you use this formation, you'll kind of get a better feel for what I'm talking about, and you can definitely experiment. The main point in any formation you go for, try to minimize how much damage you're taking from the enemy team, and try to keep your Dwarf Sniper safe. Your Dwarf Sniper is your damage carry, like huge damage carry. Whatever formation you need to use to keep him safe, that is the best formation. Okay, on to the items. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the item images, or I would go through them a little bit more in depth, but let's talk about what type of items you want where, okay? So debuff items, that would be anything that strips armor away. You want on your Dwarf Sniper defensive item, like the Berserker, or what is it called? The Berserker's Cutlass or something like that. That slows the enemy's attack speed and reduces their armor. You would want that on your Trent Protector. Defense items, first person I put them on is Trent Protector, because your Trent Protector has a 1 attack range. Razor Claw and Wisp Seer are both 3 attack ranges, so what's going to happen is the Trent Protector will jump into the enemy team, whereas Razor Claw and Wisp Seer will stay back, and they'll kind of stay just right in front of your marksman, but they're not going to dive into the enemy team. So anything that has a debuff aura, that's why you want it on Trent Protector, and you want to load him with a ton of armor so that he dives in the enemy team, and they don't do as much damage with all their auto attacks to him. After him, then I go with Razor Claw. Razor Claw has huge health pool, but no armor. So putting armor on him can be very effective because his health pool is so large. Lord of Sand, I put health items on because he is the opposite of Razor Claw. He has very high base armor. His base armor is 10. And to put that in perspective, a Pirate Captain who is a 4-cost warrior only has 8 armor by default. So Lord of Sand actually has more default armor than one of the best tanks in the game. So you can stack health items onto Lord of Sand. Mana, here's the big one. There are only 3 units that I really want a mana crystal on. Shining Assassin, you want 1 mana crystal on. If you have 1 mana crystal on your Shining Assassin, she will permanently ult. And what that means is she will regenerate 100 mana by the time her cooldown ends. Her cooldown is 6 seconds, and she will generate 100 mana in that 6 seconds if you give her 1 mana crystal. That's why 1 mana crystal on your Shining Assassin is perfect. And a better way to say it is actually 100% mana regeneration, because there's also some other items that can give you the 100% mana regen. Okay, then you want Wind Ranger. He is something, his ultimate is very impactful against teams that are very high in armor, like the warriors, like the goblins. It's actually him who's probably going to do the most damage instead of your Dwarf Sniper, because his damage is based in his ultimate, and yeah, it doesn't care about the armor. Final note, if you have a Siren, so say you can switch out your Dwarf Sniper with Siren, or you can run them together. I tend to go one or the other, but if you go for the Siren, load her with mana. You want 2 mana crystals on her, and she takes preference over both the Shining Assassin and the Wind Ranger. So my order is, if I'm running Siren, Siren gets 2 mana crystals, then if I get a 3rd mana crystal, Shining Assassin, and then if I get a 4th, Wind Ranger. Okay? Attack items, load your Dwarf Sniper. Dwarf Sniper is your damage carry. Load him up. Give it all to him. If for some reason, let's say he's 1 star and your Shining Assassin's 2 star, just crazy ahead, you can put items onto her. or say you're playing a team and you notice that your Shining Assassins gain a lot of value, you can give her attack items, but honestly, I only give her duplicate attack items that won't work. For instance, if you get 2 Maelstorms, the activation part of the item, or I guess I should call it a buff, the active buff of the Maelstorm item doesn't stack. So I wouldn't want to put 2 Maelstorms on my Dwarf Sniper since one of them wouldn't be useful, so then that's when I would give it to my Shining Assassin. The other time is if you have a Shadow Crawler. If you have a Shadow Crawler, you can stack her with the attack items, but that's normally if you use a Shadow Crawler, you're going into a 3 Assassin branch of a Feather build, and then it's kind of a different thing anyways, but I figured I'd just put that out there. Okay, so the last thing to discuss is economy. And what I mean by economy is kind of your tempo. Your economy is how you play the game, how you save your gold, when do you spend your gold, that type of a thing. So the great thing about Feather compositions is you can play them when you're lose streaking, you can play them when you're win streaking, and you can play them when you're in the middle. So any type of game is actually quite good for Feather units or Feather synergy, and that's what I think really makes them shine as much as they do. Some notes on that. If you're lose streaking with Feather Hunters, you want to get to level 7 and then start your re-rolling, right? The reason for that is if you look, your damage carries like we discussed, Dwarf Sniper, Wind Ranger, and Shining Assassin. So level 7 gives you a 30% chance for your 3 costs, and it gives you a 10% chance for your Shining Assassin. So that's why you want to target level 7 for your re-rolling if you're lose streaking. If you're win streaking, I would also re-roll at level 7, and that will just put you even more ahead. So if you're win streaking, you can basically get to level 7 quick, use that economy, and then start re-rolling. Try to get your Druids to 3-star, try to get your Wind Ranger, your Dwarf Sniper to 2-star, and then you can go up to level 8. And finally, if you're middling, just basically what I tend to do if I'm middling with Feather is I will go to level 7 by round 17. So round 17, I try to hit level 7, and then I will re-roll heavily. So I will basically re-roll all the way down to 30 gold, and depending how my health is doing, I may even re-roll down to 20 gold just to try to power spike. And I do that all at round 17. So as soon as round 17 ends, I start re-rolling, or not ends, sorry. As soon as round 17 starts, I start re-rolling, and I try to spend that 30, 40 gold all at once, so that I can get my Druids to 3-star and power spike. Feather are really good at power spiking at level 7 and then carrying that win streak into level 8 and to the end of the game. Anyways, that does it for the video. I want to keep it pretty short. I hope this helped. Like I said, if you enjoy this video, like it. When it gets to 150 likes, I will do the second team comp guide. Anyways, as always, take care, happy ranking, and I will catch you all tomorrow.